What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another along with the Alexis Arguello puppet.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benji's, back with another one.
That's right. And our guest is already here. Promptness always appreciated. Let's get him in here, man. Let's get him in here. Benji's just shut up and let me concentrate. Figure this out a lot better. I'm sure I could. Do we got you, champ?
Now you just got to tap the camera and the microphones up there.
There he is. What's up, John?
One or two. You got to hit the little microphone.
Hit the microphone button down there.
I'm a retired fighter. Take it easy on me.
You look like a retired fighter.
I got hit in the head for a living.
Yeah, that's true. You did, but you are rocking a Metallica shirt, and I am rocking a Death Angel shirt tonight.
That's right. Yep. Tell me you're 40 without telling me you're 40.
Yeah, I'm 50. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Give Death Angel some credit. This is going back early almost to where Metallica started.
Yeah, that's right.
So, John, I got you right off the rip, man, because we're big nickname guys here, man. Your nickname, tell people what it is and how you got it.
The Gladiator, it was given to me. I forget who was saying it. I don't know if it was Steve Farhood or Al Bernstein. On one of my fights, I said, this kid's a gladiator. He just never gives up, never say die attitude, always in it with a big punch to pull my fight out of the fire on numerous occasions.
And it sticks. And it's shout out Al Bernstein or Steve Farhood, one of those guys, right?
Both legends.
Yeah, definitely.
Both legends. When you see like the state of boxing right now, man, and you see these gimmick fights like these Jake Paul fights, or when you see boxers go against MMA guys, ultimately, man, you're a guy that goes back in the sport quite a bit. What do you think these do for the sport? Are they good?
You know, I can't hate a guy for legalizing robbing a bank. I mean, if you're gonna tell me I'm gonna go spar with the guy that's a 4-round fighter and get paid $1 million, I mean, more power to him. I don't think it's a bad thing for the sport. I heard Jake Paul one time call out, say, I wanted to fight a cop and I wanted to fight a boxer. Well, I'm 2-1, so we can definitely and I'll do it at 185 pounds, as you can tell, a little thick in the face now.
Yeah.
But
it's not have to make weight anymore, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't mind Jake Paul, what he's doing for the sport. Can he be a champion with the right matchmaking? I can see him get a regional title. I can see him maybe getting a title shot and possibly getting a title, but I don't see him taking on anyone in the top 15. Not anytime soon. He has power, but there is levels to this game, and especially a guy like myself who spent numerous of years and fought the best in the world.
Yeah. No doubt.
I mean, you can't. I'm not knocking his hustle. I'm happy for him that he's trying to make his hustle and he's doing it well, and he's a popular guy. That's why he's making the money he's making. But don't say you're going to be a world champion in a couple of years. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Well,
right.
I mean, he's gonna have to fight somebody like the likes of Jai Opatai or in that type of realm.
Well, even in that, I mean, even a French contender at top at best. I mean, I don't think he'll do well with, because those. I mean, looking at his past performances, I'm not impressed.
Yeah. And when you see like guys like when you see like a Francis Ngannou, he fights, he doesn't even win the fight with Fury, but the WBC ranks him number 10. As a fighter, when you leapfrog guys like that, does that leave a bad taste in other guys' mouths?
No, not at all. I think it was Tyson Fury's a hell of a fighter, probably the best heavyweight of the era right now. I think, and I'm a fighter, the fighters train for the opposition. They thought this was a big, strong guy, which he was.
Yep.
They didn't anticipate on the fight happening the way it did. Did he get dropped? Yes. Did he still win the fight? Yes. And I can say he won the fight. The people that are watching saying that Ngannou won the fight, it was because they saw the knockdown. That was it. They don't know really the sport of boxing. Yeah. Now, what this is going to set up, and it's kind of interesting because I thought about this. Now that he's fighting Joshua is a very one-trick pony plotting heavyweight. He's not like Fury, but he has a mobility enough and experience enough to make Ngannou look really bad, and he's not going to take him lightly. So he's going to come out looking spectacular, and it's going to make a mega fight between Fury and Joshua.
Yeah, which the British fans will absolutely love, and will pack a huge stadium.
It's a long time coming. It needs to happen. I mean, it's a great fight. Joshua, like I said, in my opinion, he's a talented fighter, a strong fighter, and he's not very mobile. He's a definite plotting heavyweight. He moves
Yeah.
better than the average guy, but he's a plot. Look what happened when he fought Ruiz. Ruiz is very fast hands. He can move, and it gave him fits.
Yeah. So when you see a guy like Terrence Crawford, now that's the guy you shared the ring with.
Correct.
Yeah. First of all, let me ask you: is he the best fighter in the world right now, in your opinion?
He is hands down the best. Matter of fact, after the Earl Spence fight, I sent him a message and said, "Hey man, hands down, you are the best of our era." I mean, I fought the guy. The guy, and I think I put a tab on his style. Fighting Terrence Crawford is like fighting a Rubik's cube. It's hard to figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is his rhythm is impeccable. His pop is, and he's growing into his pop. I didn't feel like he was a very strong puncher, but I feel like he's at an age where he carries that pop. And when he says stuff like, "I'm gonna go up and fight Canelo," you have to believe him now. You can't say no. I know it sounds. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, add to that. Do you think that he warranted Fighter of the Year, even though he only fought once? I know Inouye took it, but
I would say yes, and I'm gonna tell you this: Terrence Crawford. If you look at his last 10 fights, 11 fights, which I was in there, he made us all look like the same fighter.
Yeah.
Even for myself to Earl Spence.
Great
and
point.
to make Earl Spence look like a normal guy, you had to be talented. You can't say, "Oh, I was injured." He made Earl Spence look like a normal, and Earl Spence is nowhere near a normal guy, but Terrence Crawford made him look that way.
Yeah, and I think, speaking to Benji's point, Crawford felt that he didn't get that nod because he only fought the one fight, but his was, that one fight is better than what a lot of guys do, over 2 or 3 fights because of the magnitude of who he fought.
Well, I'm a fighter, and I know what Earl Spence is. Me and Earl Spence, we were signed to Al Heyman together. We came up together. We fought on similar cards together. Earl Spence is no joke. You have to really take your hat off, and now you have to say Crawford and Mayweather in their prime. It's a toss-up. You have to say it now. You can't. And I'm not taking anything away from Mayweather. His ability and his reaction and his reflex is probably the best of. It could be his defensive skills is best of all time. Yeah. I'm not gonna say he's the best fighter of all time, but his defensive skills and his timing is probably the best of all time. Mm-hmm. But when you have a guy like Crawford who can figure it out, who can bang, who has dog in him, who has the technical ability to switch back and forth and put handcuffs on you like an Andre Ward could, you can't doubt the guy now. Whatever, if he said he's gonna go up and fight Joshua, you have to believe him.
Yeah. Now, you make a great point that you have been in the ring throughout your career with some of the best. What about a fight? Was there ever one that you really yearned for, that you wanted to see come to fruition and it didn't happen?
You know what? I wanted the rematch with Matissa. I think the fans earned that. Matter of fact, I sent Matissa a message and I said, "Hey, let's do it again." He said, "Hell no, I'm retired." We're making jokes. But I think the rematch with Matissa was warranted. I think that was a great fight, a fun fight for the fans. The one that I think got away was Figueroa. I still feel in my heart that I won. I'm not here to boast. I feel like I won that fight. I lost on the cards, and you can ask the who's who of boxing, who went and tweeted about it and did numerous interviews about how they felt that I got the nod, but that's neither here nor there. We're both retired now, but I feel like I did enough to win that fight. And the one fight in my whole career that I think I'd want to do over again would be Broner.
Yeah.
Why do you say Broner? I feel like
like to do that
I
fight
don't like laying the goose egg.
What would you do different in a Broner fight? What would you think you would bring into another fight?
Well, there was one time where he was hurt, and I didn't realize it until I watched the fight after. But again, that's not enough to warrant a rematch. But I feel like I would have fought the guy after Broner. I went out and beat Provodnikov.
Right.
And I beat him pretty handily. And it just shows that I think I would have put that more pressure on Broner and went after him a little more. I think I was holding back a little too much.
Yeah.
Is it hard to tell sometimes, like when you're in there and it's live speed, that you got a guy hurt and like And again, like if you do feel that you have him hurt, is it hard to like go full throttle knowing you could still get put away?
Well, it depends on who you believe it or not. Broner has great pop. The guy can crack.
Yeah.
People don't believe he hit me with the same punch that he dropped Sean Porter with.
Yeah.
He hit me with that punch in like the 11th round, and boom, he let right on my chin. I was like, the whole crowd did a spin. I said, "Holy crap!" He got and his fast twitch muscle at that stage in his career was amazing.
Yeah.
He was able to snap those punches off and catch you slipping if you weren't prepared. To answer your question about knowing when a guy's hurt, when you're fighting the likes of a Broner, of a Terrence Crawford, of a Lucas Matisse, you have to proceed with caution because those guys will play possum to get you to land their shot.
Right.
So there's more to the fight game than just going in there and throwing bombs.
Right.
Like for instance, when I dropped Matisse the first time, I didn't realize how hurt he was until I watched the fight back after. I mean, the guy was stumbling; he was really hurt.
Yes,
and if you look back at the fight, when you hear the pop of the punch, even De La Hoya was like, it was a hard shot that landed on him.
Yeah.
And it didn't look hard. It looked like it was all arm, but it was just a solid shot. I didn't realize how hurt he was, and it was the end of the round. And I'm not saying that's why I lost the fight. I'm just saying maybe I could have applied more pressure at that time and possibly got him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a guy who I assume still keeps a good eye on the sport, we got all these guys now vying for wanting to be the quote unquote face of boxing. Who is it right now for you? Is it still Canelo? Is it Tank? Is it Shakur?
If you look at the grand scheme of things and you look at the monetary value of the sport, I'm gonna say right now Canelo's still the cash king.
Yeah.
He's still that guy that, and rightfully so. The guy turned pro at 15. He the only draw he had was against Miguel Vasquez. I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Yep.
Early on, who Miguel Vasquez was like an enigma. He was a boxer for a Mexican guy. We used to spar numerous rounds together. I used to hate sparring the guy because he was so tricky.
Yeah.
But right now, if you're going for, in my humble opinion, the best fighter pound for pound right now is Terrence Crawford, hands down. Above all, resume. Every fighter that he's ever fought, he made them all look very similar.
Yep.
When he got dropped by Gamboa, that's not a bad thing. Gamboa was a stud. When Gamboa first came out, he was a hell of a fighter and still is a hell of a fighter. I mean, just because he's old doesn't mean he lost a step, but he was strong. He was powerful. He was Cuban. They had that. They were born. They came out the womb fighting, so they were already.
Yes, they do.
So I would say Terrence Crawford. I say the guys on his heel. You have to respect Tank Davis, not so much for what he did to Ryan Garcia. Not that Ryan is fast, he's strong, and he's popular. Those are his three strengths.
Yeah.
And he's always going to be an intrigue in every fight because he's so fast and so he hits so hard. So he can be, and I'm speaking like calling myself, you can be losing the whole fight and he can still win because he has. I think he's arguably the hardest puncher at 140 right now.
And they both have won 3 fights against each other in the amateurs, him and Haney. Now it's going to be their first dance together in the pros. Who wins?
Again, I go back with Ryan since he was 14 years old. He used to come in the gym. He would spar with my sparring partners when I was getting ready for fights. I was in camp for like with Matisse and camp for like guys like DeMarco, Humberto Soto.
Yeah.
And Ryan would go in there at 14 years old. He would hold his own against world-rated fighters.
Yeah.
And now, if you're asking me who wins, I say Ryan always has the strength and the speed to put someone's lights out. And as much as I don't want to admit it, you got to give Haney the nod, man. The kid he's getting better every fight.
Yeah.
At first, I thought he was a front runner when he fought Linares. I thought if he would have fought the way he fought, if Linares would have fought the way he fought in the second half, he could have took the fight.
Yeah.
But Haney's he's talented. I gotta get and here's the thing, Haney, that guy's a 47-pounder. He's a big dude. I know he's already outgrowing 140. It's gonna be harder for him to make 140. Thank God there's no rematch rehydration clause in there because Haney's already a 47-pounder, no problem, maybe even 54.
He came in 165 for his last fight
against Progress.
Put things in. When I fought at 140, And then the next day I fought Provodnikov, I weighed 163.
Yeah.
Okay, that was towards the end of my career. And then when I moved to 47, I was walking around at 173. But
Yeah.
I looked at Haney, I looked at his neck, I looked at his head, his neck, his shoulders. He dwarfs Ryan, and Ryan's a big kid for 140 pounds.
Yeah. Very.
So
Yeah.
you got it. But the kid is talented. Sometimes I don't like the way they talk, but in the sport of boxing, you have to talk that way. But I was always saying, no, Haney's not this, he's not that. No. And then when you go back and watch the fight when he fought the Ukrainian Lomachenko, when he fought Loman, he beat him. He beat him hands down.
Yeah.
There was no question there. Oh no, it wasn't he beat him. I mean, and that's hard to do. So
That's a polarizing opinion, though, with some people.
it is, but is it a casual fan? Is it someone that's shared the ring for 20 years of his life?
Right.
Right.
Knowing what I looked at, Haney beat him. I wouldn't say it was a wide margin, but he did enough to beat him. I thought he won.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not partial to Haney because I don't know the kid. I met him on a few occasions, but never had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
I think he's talented. He's the top three in that class right now between Shakur, Tank, Ryan, Rowley, and Haney. It's changed.
So I take it you're not a guy who likes when these guys trash talk. Like now we see the advent of technology really coming into play, and guys are really beefing on Twitter a lot and talking and stuff. Do you like that sells fights, or do you prefer it more old school, like less talking and more?
No, I agree with that. I'm saying specifically Haney, the way he talks, I don't care for it. I'm not saying talk trash, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I appreciate, and that was because in the beginning he was talking crap and I didn't see it. But every fight he's progressively gotten better. So now I'm like, okay, he's backing up what he's saying. You got to agree with him.
Yeah.
So
he is.
I mean that's in the beginning. I was like, this kid's just talking crap, him and his dad. And then you see the fights, like, whoa, wait a minute, they're onto something here. Like these guys are talented, so you got to give them credit.
Now, are there any fights coming up that you're like really looking forward to, or fights that you feel like we need to see that need to be made?
I think the fight that's very flying under the radar right now is going to be Rolly and Pitbull.
Yeah, we were just talking about that one.
That is a fun fight.
Yeah.
Rolly, in my opinion, is a smidget slower than Ryan Garcia. He's Ryan Garcia, but just slower. That's what he is.
Yeah.
And if you look back at the Tank fight between Rolly and Tank, Rolly was winning that fight until he got knocked out. But that's like saying, if I was 6'3", I'd be 6'3". You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But that's a fun fight because I love Pitbull. I love his style. I love the way he fights. I like Rolly, the way he talks. He makes it entertaining. And I think that's just a stacked card between him and Rolly. And then you have Zoo and then Thurman. That's going to be a fun fight. I respect Zoo's power. I respect his father. He was one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah.
And I always think of I don't want to say it because Zab Judah is a good friend of mine, but I always never forget the punch when he hit Zab Judah and knocked him down twice.
How could you forget it? I know.
Matter of fact, Zab Judah, the night, I'll tell you a story how the fight got made between me and Matisse. So the fight got made. I don't want to say too many names. I went to Vegas. I went behind closed doors in the corridors of the MGM. John MOLINA Jr., we have a fight for you. And at this point, Lucas Matisse was Lucas Matisse.
Yeah.
He was the hardest puncher at 140. I was the hardest puncher at 135.
Yeah.
I want to make this fight for you. But if this is not the fight for you, I'll give you 3 names and I'll pay you the same amount of money. I don't want you to answer me now. Enjoy your time. It's all on me. Have a good time. I want you to call me personally. I want to hear from your mouth to my ears. This is the fight you want to have. Cool, no problem. I go home. Me and my wife leave. We go home. And I'm watching Mauricio Herrera and Danny Garcia, which Danny's my boy. Mauricio's my boy. We all think Mauricio won that fight and he got robbed. I told my wife, hey, I'm going to take the fight. I call the name I'm not going to name. I call that person, hey, what do you need? I'm going to make this fight happen. No problem. I'll make it happen. Fight happened. In that fight, although I lost that fight, that fight catapulted me into an upper echelon of fighters.
Yeah.
And I really won in that fight. It was my first biggest payday. I gutted my house. I remodeled it. Did everything.
Yeah.
I
Why
mean,
not? Yeah.
it was. Now after I signed with Al Heyman, I started getting paid like an athlete. That's why I hate when people talk about Al Heyman, because he's an advocate for the fighters. He takes care of us. To this day, he took care of me.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. It's always nice when you hear somebody, being rewarded, because we do see a lot of sad stories at the end of guys' careers.
Well, look at I went out. I had a successful career. I made some good money.
Yeah.
I was able to do what I got to do. And immediately following, I retired. My wife says, "What are you going to do?" I said, I said, "You're going to get mad at me, but I'm going to go be a cop."
Yeah.
And she said, "So you put me through 13 years professionally of boxing, and now you're going to be a cop." And I said, "This is what."
Into the fire.
Yeah, but it was literally, I wanted to be a cop before I was a fighter. So I wanted to kill two. I was still young enough to have a normal job, if you will.
Right.
And when you make it to the levels that I made it at, don't get me wrong, it's not beneath me. I'll go work at Walmart if I have to support my family. But it's kind of an embarrassment to not have a noble job. So when I went out to be a cop, it's a great job. I make great money. I still get to protect. I still get to fight, except to articulate it. That's the hard part. But I'm trying to advocate for other fighters, because I hate to see people that made it to my plateau that I made it to and then have nothing to show for it at the end.
It's sad. It is.
So,
it's sad. Yeah.
It's a brutal sport. And I don't want to put too much business out there, but there's a couple of fighters that are brought over that are going to be going through the academy soon. And you guys will catch wind of it soon. When it's time to say it to everyone, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. We're getting fun. That makes me feel safe right there. Ex-fighters on the squad. Yeah.
Well, no, 100%. But look, you got to remember, our fight or flight is second to none. Our whole career is we had to react. Picture walking into the MGM with thousands of people watching, 1 million people in the home, and you have the number one guy and you're the number two guy, and you guys are fighting. And in the boxing game, to fight somebody, you have to try to kill him. If you're not trying to kill him, you're in the wrong sport. There's nowhere on the human body where I can hit just hard enough to knock the guy out.
Right.
It's you have to try to kill him. So I've been in that position where there's fight or flight, and I've been cracked. When I fought Red Catch, I got dropped. No one knows, but when Red Catch dropped me, he hurt me. I was hurt. Yeah. I got up and the whole crowd was spinning, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And for me, it's whenever the crowd spins, I know I'm on Queer Street, as they call
it. Not the place to be. So, and I like that point too, because the fight or flight thing is very true, because you guys are literally standing there in the center of a ring, engaging in something that most people do run from.
100%. And with us, we go towards the danger. Being a cop, we go towards the danger. And again, I'm not tuning my own horn. I'm a tough guy, and I'm not saying I don't walk around like I'm a tough guy. But if that switch, if you will, goes off, it's game time. It's time to get down. And,
you can go there. Yeah.
I don't have to prove it, because my record's proven for me.
Right.
And I wasn't a nerd in high school. I wasn't picked on. I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
Dark places. You got to be able to go to dark places sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Tyson says it best when you hear him, and he's like, "Sometimes I don't want that guy to come out because I'm afraid I don't know if I can stop him." But every fighter who's a real fighter worth their salt, they know what we're talking about. We've been there. When it's time to click, it actually excites me to get down. I get excited to fight.
Sure, it's an adrenaline rush. Yeah. And so now, like, what's life like after boxing been like? Obviously, you're doing the police officer thing. Do you have any yen to be involved in at all at any level, training, doing anything?
I still have my gym. There's been calls for a fight to come out of retirement. I promised my dad I would never embarrass the name, because, truth be told, I'm 41 now. I'll work out, I'll train, I'll throw certain punches. I'm like, whoa, never felt that before. Yeah. And like, I know what it takes to be at that level, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
So you got to respect every fighter that's in there. I can always tell I'm a 7-year-old man, I'm always going to say I can whoop the next guy.
Right.
But I know to feel like a civilian now, if you will, not a fighter. It's a very humbling feeling. I didn't know what getting tired meant until I retired.
Right. Now you're a 40-year-old ex-fighter walking around with Metallica shirts.
Exactly. Now, yeah, and here's even the best part. I'm wearing some pumps.
Oh man, those are throwback.
Those are throwback. Yeah. That's taking it back old school right there.
Yeah.
I remember
But no-
I remember pumping those things up and still not being able to dunk and being like,
Yeah, it
"Damn."
didn't work. It didn't work. Still didn't work. Uh-huh.
So you know, the biggest glare, well, there's still some glaring issues in boxing. One of the big things we still see quite a bit, you know, there still seems to be a black eye in the sport, and we bounced it around in here before and talked to guys, how do you fix it or whatever, but we do still see quite a bit of lousy decisions, judge decisions.
Well, look, my thought on that is the only way to fix that is boxing. There's 3 different criteria to judge a fight, whether it's effective aggressiveness, punches landed, and ring generalship. Now, if you have a guy who's heavy on ring generalship, but not punches landed or effective aggressiveness, the fight is going to be judged lopsided. Until they nail that, until they fix those cards by the judges, we're always going to have a lopsided fight because it's up to the viewer's discretion on what they want to vote for.
Right.
So I think there needs to be a better. I can't reinvent the wheel. I don't know what the answer is. I just think they need to tighten up what they're looking for in the ring.
Yeah. Have you ever been approached?
No, never in my career. But the one thing I will tell you about this, the beautiful thing about boxing is, let's just say the cards are stacked against you. Matter of fact, I'll say in 2013, me against Mickey Bay, I was losing every round of that fight, but the punch got me out of there. That's the beauty about our sport. We hold our own destiny in our own hands if we knock you out.
You can erase a scorecard. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, and that's a nice thing right there. Having that.
But
that power.
sometimes though, we were talking about this earlier, the commentators and everybody is pushing a certain agenda or a certain narrative that they feel like the fight is supposed to be you know what I mean, following.
1,000%. That's accurate. You're not wrong to say what you say. If matter of fact, when I fought Provodnikov, he had just got signed to Showtime. Okay, and if you watch that fight, I'm beating the brakes off him. Yeah. And you hear them saying, well, we don't know who's winning the fight, but it's like, come on, what are you watching?
Yeah.
And then when you watch back the highlights, they're highlights of me getting hit, not the ones of me hitting Provodnikov. So they already had it in the can to say, hey, Provodnikov won this fight. Look what he did. And then I made it different.
I don't know. Just one that we recently saw that was really like mind-boggling to me was Jermaine Ortiz and Teofimo Lopez. And they said, Tim Bradley kept constantly telling us, Jermaine Ortiz is running. He's running. But then he threw more and landed a couple more. So I'm not really sure how he was running, but did more work still.
That fight was that was a bad fight for everyone, for fans, for commentators, for boxing, because you have these 2 names that are very talented fighters. I still think Teofimo's a stud. I still think Ortiz is a stud. It was just a bad styles make fights. I know it's an old saying, and this one was that would be like watching Arizona Lara fight Miguel Vasquez. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. So, I mean,
it's a shame that now they feel like they can't put Jermaine Ortiz though in any more big fights because it's not a fan-friendly style. But and the thing that gets confusing is when he does it, you know, it's considered him running all night. But when you see other guys like Shakur do it, it's a master class in boxing.
Again, yeah, you're right, Shakur. And again, Shakur is a stud. He's a kid I've been kind of keeping close tabs on. And it's funny. I'm going to say he reminds me. He's coming up the same path as Andre Ward did.
Yeah.
And to add to that point, you have James Prince, who's managing Shakur. So he's going to go far. And Prince is the only guy that can go to Al Heyman, that can go to Bob Arum, that can go to DAZN, Hearn, and make these. That's why I like Prince. I think he's good for the sport. He did very, very. big things for Andre Ward. I think he's going to do the same for Shakur Stevenson. James Prince knows what he's looking at, and when he found Shakur Stevenson, he saw a lot of things in him that he saw in Dre.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the trajectory of his career. He's going to be one of those guys. He may go undefeated.
Speaking of trajectories of careers, we see a lot of ex-fighters, regardless of the type of career they've had, successful, middle of the road, not so successful. But if there's an interesting story there, there's an interesting story there. You've been in the ring with a lot of the best. Is there a book in John Molina?
Oh, definitely. I think I still have my marbles about me where I can still articulate this story and what boxing, because I went through the whole. You got to remember, I was signed by Al Heyman.
Yeah.
I started my career with Goose and Tudor. I was there at the conception of PBC. I fought everybody.
Yep.
From my whole career. I never picked a fight. I always agreed to whoever they put in front of me.
Yeah.
The only fights that I think I did pick was Broner and Figueroa. I was able to put the pressure on them and they had to take the fight. But I think there's so much stories behind closed doors that the casual fan does not know about boxing. I can share with you guys. I mean, working with Al Heyman. Al Heyman is amazing person for boxing.
Yeah, very mysterious. Very mysterious.
Matter of fact, even promoter-wise, Tom Brown. That was my matchmaker when I was with Goose and Tudor. Tom Brown is a solid guy, knows the sport of boxing. He was the one that kind of built our career up before we got noticed to everybody. Tom Brown's a great guy. He's doing beautiful things at TGB. His daughter, she's been around boxing since before me. I think boxing's in a good state right now. And I just want people to know that they hear all these horror stories, all this BS, boxing this, and they won't make the fight because of that. It's not about that. And trust me, Al Heyman tries everything in his power to make the fight happen.
I believe that. I do. Yeah.
I mean, and I've talked to him personally. He did everything and more he said he was going to do for me in my career.
Yeah. Is there a
Dan Lucas? Dan Lucas was amazing as well. What's that?
Will there ever be a John Molina comeback? Or do you think you're officially completely done? We see guys coming back into their 40s. Obviously, a lot of guys always say, never say never.
If I ever do come back, I think I'm gonna warm enough to. I don't need to warm up. Let's go for it. We're the do or die. We're gonna get knocked out, or we're gonna knock somebody out.
Yeah.
I've been itching, but I've been out of the game for 4 years. That's why.
Yeah.
And then I work out and I say, okay, that's why I'm out of the game for 4 years. but of course, I see guys like Thurman that are fighting. Granted, he's a little younger than me. He's 38. But he's in the twilight of his career. I think the fight with him and Zoo is a very intriguing fight.
Me too.
Very intriguing fight.
Yeah.
Again, I think Zoo has a pop. But Thurman, you can't doubt him. He's very mobile. He's very agile. He hits like a ton of bricks, and he has experience. It's the right step up at the right time for Zoo. If Zoo is the man, it's going to show that night.
More importantly, as a guy with 25 plus years of marriage if you go back to fighting, what does the wife say if you were to drop it in her lap right now? I'm going to take a fight.
She supports me either way.
Good.
Funny story was after I fought Figueroa, which was in LA, so I live in the LA SGV LA area. I was coming home, everything was said and done. I was showering and I hear someone crying. And I come out and it's my wife. And she's like, how much more are you gonna keep fighting for? She's like, look around you. We have everything we have. We have everything we need. And I grabbed my check and I put my check down. I said, you show me anywhere in the world where I can make that kind of money, I'll retire tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she says, but what she doesn't know is that put a seed in my head. It planted a seed And then I had 2 more fights or 1 more fight after that, and it was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Hey,
not because
happy life, champ. Come on.
Well,
yeah, no, I
there's
get
only
it.
one or
I
two
get
ways
it.
you can
It,
go.
it makes sense, but I think I'll be saying this till I'm 80 years old and say I want 1 more fight. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think I'll be
Right.
till I'm 80 years
Right.
old. But
I mean,
I love my job. I love the way things are going. A lot. I want to be an example for all fighters and show them there can be life after boxing. We don't have to end up
Absolutely.
at the bar. We don't have to end up a trainer begging for a fighter to maybe make 10% of whatever they make.
Good point.
We can have a
Great
successful
point.
career. And if anyone's going to be punchy, it's going to be me given my style. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you are an action fighter. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel the wear and tear. I feel it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying everything in my power to control it.
Yeah. What do you control it with? Like, what works?
Heat shock therapy, going to the sauna in the steam room.
Yeah.
For layman's terms, when you get hit in the head, there's a lot of calcium that gets built up on your brain.
Yeah.
And it's not proven yet, but they say that the heat shock therapy will help melt that, almost like the lactic acid comes out of your blood. So I do the sauna, I do the steam room. I can feel my speech, but I noticed my speech in the halfway towards the end of my career. I think fans were noticing my speech slur a little bit.
Yeah.
That's just part of it. I know what I signed up for.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm not complaining. I wear glasses because of boxing.
Yeah. It's
Not
real,
because
folks.
I never had a detached retina. I had nerve damage after the Matista fight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's real out there, folks. You don't play boxing. It's the only sport you don't play.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not. Again, I hope I don't sound like I'm bickering. I'm not complaining. Boxing did everything for my family.
Sure.
I'm not complaining. I chose this. I signed up for this. This is what it is, and I love the sport of boxing, and I love it dearly. I will love it for the rest
crazy
of my life.
it's everything and it's nothing all at once. It takes that from you and gives you everything.
100%, and that's why I'm happy I have a career post boxing.
Yeah.
I want people to see it, that it can happen.
Yeah. It's a good example. To
Yeah, and
people.
you say speech, but I gotta say, John, I don't see it. I don't hear anything.
Me neither.
Well,
I don't hear it.
it's there. Maybe I noticed it because I'm more
cognizant
I'm more
of it.
focused on it. Yeah.
You're thinking about it.
Yeah. So, but other than that, though, life after boxing has been good to you, though.
Life after boxing has been good. My daughter's an athlete now. My youngest daughter's playing softball. My oldest daughter's a gymnast. They're in Arizona right now for a competition.
Good.
Life is good, man. Life is good. I had a great career. People respect my craft, and I love boxing. Do I miss it? I miss it dearly. Of course, I want to fight. You can't tell me there's no human being that doesn't miss the limelight, if you will.
No doubt.
It's just it is what it is. Do I want one more fight? If Al calls me tomorrow, I'll consider it. So, I mean,
it's not off the table out there, folks. You heard that. It's not off the table. Now, if you got to train or fight the best round of your life and you're allowed to wear headphones and one song is pumping in there to get you pumped up, what's the song?
Wow. Well, obviously, shout out to Hollywood Undead where they did my Whatever It Takes song. Whatever It Takes, look it up on YouTube. You guys will like it. That's a great song. Billy D did a lot of music for me. A song that'll pump me up will always be Victory, 50 Cent, Puff Daddy, because it has the Rocky theme in it.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I used to run to that at 5 a.m, every morning up the mountain with that in my ear.
Yeah.
Picturing whomever I'm going to fight.
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
it was, boxing was the dedication that it takes.
Yeah.
It's second to none.
It's a lifestyle. It's a life.
It
it's
is.
a lifestyle. Listen, John, I'm so glad we finally got a chance to do this nail down a day. We've been missing each other for months, just scheduling issues. And, I got a life and a day job and kids and grandkids too. So I get it, man. I'm glad we finally were able to do this, though. It's been great talking to you. I hope you'll keep in touch and we can have you on again.
Definitely. Looking forward to it again. Schedules didn't work out, but I'm glad it worked out today.
We'll get there eventually. Yep.
Like I said, the sport of boxing is in good hands right now. I'm looking forward to those fights. Zoo, Rolly, even Devin Haney and Garcia. Kudos to both of them for making the fight happen.
Yeah. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this, John. It's been a blast talking to you, really, man.
All right. You guys keep me in mind. We'll have another conversation soon.
Absolutely,
yeah.
we will, buddy. You know we will. Good luck with everything, man. And it's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, keep
Thank you. I
protecting the
appreciate it.
servant, champ.
Keep
Doing
All right,
protecting
you got it.
the Yeah.
Yeah.
Be safe out there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right, take it easy. And there he goes, folks. The great, and I will say it, John the Gladiator Molina Jr.
He said it. Jake Paul wants to fight a cop and a boxer, so he said, "I'm 2-1. Let's get it."
Volunteering himself, and he says he won't get in any trouble with the wife. So, I mean, that's what's most important. I mean, put some respect on that man's name. 30 wins, 9 losses, 24 knockouts. Been in there with, you heard him, dude, the best. Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner, Ivan Redcatch, Ruslan Provodnikov, Hank Lundy, Terrence Crawford. Ain't nobody that the guy ain't fought. So, I mean, he's certainly got a unique perspective. He's been in there with the best. He's been at the top levels, man.
I liked his insights, man. I thought he spoke well and was very smart.
And it was finally good to actually see him on this screen because we've been talking and missing each other and chatting for months and months about doing this and talking offline. And he's a very busy family man as well and commitments with his family. And you always got to respect that. Something's popping with the kids or the wife or whatever, man. It's always got to be about the family first. So I'm glad we finally got a block of time where we could actually get him to sit down and chat with us. Make sure you like us on Facebook and follow us on Facebook. Reach out to us. Drop us a friend request. We are friend whores.
On YouTube.
Hit the notification bell on YouTube. Yes, tune in or you're going to get tuned out of this great boxing content. Amazing boxing content that you're not getting anywhere else.
Right. Tap in or I'm going to tell my friend who wears a tap out shirt to tap you out.
Yeah, and that could be any number of guys, any
Watch
night
your
at a
ass.
bar. Yeah, that could be anybody right there, man.
Watch your ass.
Wash your ass. If you see a guy saying wash your ass from across the bar, or at least that's what you think you're reading his lips, watch your ass. What are you saying over there? I can't wash my ass?
I showered before I came.
I showered. Every Friday night when I come out, I shower first.
I put on Speed Stick.
The guy in the tap-out shirt keeps telling me to wash my ass across the bar. I'm sorry, sir. Come a little closer. I'm not making this up. Oh, watch my ass.
Yeah.
Watch my ass. Hey, I'm not looking for any trouble, buddy.
No.
And then I go into my crazy man routine. Oh, I see who you are.
You got a tap out shirt on.
I see who you are. The aliens put you in that shirt, but I recognize who you are. I know you're from planet Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine. That sounds like some Gary Buseyism. So I'm gonna
That's
say
from Star Wars. I ripped that from Star Wars. That's where Luke Skywalker's from, Tatooine.
I'm gonna say right now, man. Shout out Gary Busey.
Yeah.
15 seconds with anything.
Yeah. And let me tell you folks out there that if you want to continue to be a champion, continue to tune into the Off the Couch Boxing YouTube channel and continue to roll with the champ.